Don Mazzella here for Small Business Digest. Usually our guests are really honed into small business, but when I saw the title of this book from Rob Cross, I had to have him on the program to have him explain it because it sure goes in the face of the woke world today. So, Rob, welcome to the program.
Well, good morning, Donald. Thank you so much. And good morning to all you Delaware folks.
Well, Rob, as we ask all our guests, first, tell us a little bit about your background, and then the second, what you've been doing lately, and the title of your newest book. And I think it's thought provoking. And finally, a website where people can learn more.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Rob Cross. I'm way down in Sugar Land, Texas. That's where my family and I reside. I'm from Texas, and I actually am just a regular guy. That's how I see myself. I'm a regular guy that sees things outside the boundaries of conventional thinking. And I've had such a an interesting journey in my life because I reached a point where things weren't working the way I had planned on them working. Can you imagine, Donald, a life not working the way you planned it? So I I had a failing business and a failing marriage. And you get to a point where you ask the questions, and I've always asked the why not questions. I've always been intrigued with why not. And I have studied and studied. I've just become a student of life. I have mentors in Jim Rohn and Wayne Dyer and Tony Robbins, good old Zig Ziglar. There's so many men that I followed and studied because I wanted to understand why things weren't working the way I thought they should. And I think my biggest fascination and my biggest aha and my biggest breakthrough has been that I realized I had really been doing so much of my life upside down. And I have a message I want to give your folks because we're all looking for success. We're all looking for something better. We're all looking for, a better marriage, better parenting, better business. And that's what prompted me to write my book, is that with my big aha, my breakthrough, my wife Franca said, "You got to write about this stuff because this is amazing." Because I recognize the power of my thinking. Most of us think that our thinking is passive, and much of our thoughts are. What color shirt am I going to wear today? There's a lot of passive thoughts we have, but boy, I tell you what, many of our thoughts are great forces in our lives, and we're not even recognizing it. So most of us have gone through, trying to find an unline through books, through sermons, through, how can I become bigger and better and more successful? But I'm telling you, the people I work with, I just take them back to the simple, basic, common sense, and that is your thinking. And my teachers, looking back, I learned, yeah,
Rob, let me
yeah,
interrupt you before we go further.
yeah.
Tell people the name of your book because then they'll see it in the context.
Okay. My book is Flip Your Thinking. You can find it on Amazon. My next book is Flip Your Mornings. It's it and the book that's in the works that's about to come out is Flip Your Marriage. So it'll be you can see a theme. The theme is all about flipping the way we've been thinking. But the Flip Your Thinking has been a great success. I'm very humbled by the feedback I've been getting on that. It really introduces you to 36 things that we think about that are literally pushing away the very things that we want. If you've studied enough about our thoughts, you'll see that the consensus are among the experts that we have anywhere from 20,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. And 70% of those thoughts are negative. And most of them were unconscious. And when I recognized that, I was able to wake up to this idea that, wow, I have been allowing my thoughts to control me. And really, that's what I tell all my folks is, look, you're either controlling your thoughts or your thoughts are controlling you. And the more conscious we become of what I'm thinking, in other words, oh, I could never be that, or look at me, there I go failing again, or, well, that's just my luck. Those little thoughts that we think are benign, they're actually enforcing. And from our thoughts come our choices. From our choices come our behavior. And from a behavior comes our reality in life, what shows up in our life. And since I've gotten this, I tell you what, I've been so enthralled with, I couldn't write fast enough. I mentioned to you that my wife said, you got to write this down. And I wasn't going to write it down because I wasn't an author. And that was probably one of the first biggest flips I had, was that I had been telling my story all my life that I'm not a writer, I'm not an author. And many of your listeners have been telling themselves, and I invite you to think about that now. What story have you been telling yourself? Have you been telling yourself, oh, you'll never amount to that, or you could never be that, or you could never be that successful? What story have you been telling yourself that's literally hog-tying you and holding you hostage from becoming everything that you want to become? It's a very simple, common sense thing, Donald. It's so my conclusion in the book was, well, by golly, I really have been. I hated English class, right? It was my worst class in college. So naturally, I'm not a writer. But I came to realize that, you know what? I'm not a writer because I've been telling myself I'm not one. And so I flipped my thinking, and I'm a writer because I said I'm a writer. It's that simple. And my books have just been a smash. I'm just so humbled by them because they're just simple, common sense that brings you back to what you think. And
Well,
there's nothing more powerful than the base. Yeah, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I was going to play a devil's advocate for a minute. It's easy to say that, flip it. We all think about it,
Yeah.
and we say, we're going to flip it." But it's in practice, it's much more difficult to say you're going to change the way you think. Well, what are some of the ways you help people make the flip?
Yeah. Thank you for that, because that's an excellent point. That's probably the most important point. That's probably the biggest question I'm asked. It's easier said than done, right? And I'm telling you, the simplest thing in the world is to flip your thinking, but it's the hardest thing in the world as well. And it's only because we've conditioned ourselves for so long unconsciously to think a certain way. And I help my folks wake up to what they literally are thinking, because most of us don't even know. We don't even know that I'm not, I didn't even know that had this thought that I'm not an author, I'm not a writer. It just always was. The more conscious we can become, the more, well, that's the first step. That's the first base. Still doesn't make it easy. And here's why: because we're addicted. We're all addicted to familiarity. We love coziness. We love that comfort zone. We love predictability. That's why we have so many insurance policies, right? I have 6 of them because I don't want bad surprises. So let's stay in this comfort zone. Let's stay with what we know. Let me just sit here and adjust my thermostat, arrange my pillow because it's comfortable here, because I know there's no risks. There's no potential of me finding out that, well, maybe I'm broken, maybe I'm not okay, maybe there's something wrong with me. So let me just stay here in the familiarity. So that's the first base, is recognizing we're addicted to familiarity. We're big boys and girls. We can switch our thinking. You can do it. You've got to know that you do. You can't use your excuse anymore. Now, once you've read my book or once you've heard me talk, no longer it's your excuse. It's put on your plate to grab those thoughts and recognize the thoughts. Here's the first base to recognizing a negative thought. Notice what you say. Your negative thoughts always come out in some form through your lips, through that pie hole of yours. You'll say something like, "Oh, not me. No siree. I can't do that." Well, stop it. Recognize that, and recognize that you have a deep-seated negative belief, and you can change that belief. But you got to start somewhere, and it's not easy. It's not easy because we are addicted to familiarity. You've got to go to a place that you don't recognize, and you've got to be willing to do that. And what I tell my friends is that my friends and my clients, that look at the balance, the scale, You've got a scale of difficulty on one end, but on the other side of that scale is what you're missing out on in life. The big, excuse me, the biggest thing we want to avoid in life is regrets. As we get older, we start having regrets of what we didn't do. I've never heard anybody regret that they put themselves out there and they failed, but they learned. People don't say they regretted that. They regretted not trying, not going there. So yeah, it's difficult because we've made it so because of our thinking. So that's a great question, Donald, and it's just going to take a little sweat effort to go there.
Well, but Rob, let me again play devil's advocate for a minute because I've seen in my life, I've been a reporter a long time, and I've seen many, many individuals, men and women, who are in terrible situations. The wives who have been beaten by their husbands, etc. Yet you ask them the question, well, just leave the relationship, and they don't. They stay in it. I mean, you ask any policeman what's their scariest thing they do is domestic violence. What's the but how how do you get people? To me, this is a $64 question. How do you get people to say enough's enough? I'm going to walk away.
Wouldn't that be the magic question? Wouldn't that be, couldn't we bottle that and sell it?
Hmm.
But I'll tell you, I can tell you how I deal with my folks. We go back to the beginning and we start with what do you want in life? Because you're so caught in the woods when you're in the midst of a relationship that's abusive. You're so in the woods you can't even see straight. You can't see the forest for the trees. Clear your thinking. Let's go back to what you want in your life. And then the next step is recognize that you're keeping yourself from getting it. Listen, people tell me all the time, well, it's his fault. He's abusing me. It's not me, it's him. As long as you keep that mentality, you'll stay there because victims have no power.
Correct.
Zero power. It's like being in prison. You have zero power. You've got to take your power back. Whatever you're in life you don't have that you want, I want you to think on that and know that you have an excuse somewhere that you are holding onto. And that excuse is like giving that other person or that other thing the remote control to your life. And they've got their fat thumb on the pause button. They are keeping you on pause. It's your choice, 100%. It's not their choice. You don't leave, it's because you're not leaving. It has nothing to do with them. And I think that's probably the biggest, excuse me, I think that's the biggest holdback that we all can relate with, and that is blame. We love to place blame. I love to place blame on why I'm not where I want to be in life because it's safe. It keeps me feeling okay with myself. When you're in blame, you're in victim mode. You don't have to change. You don't have to get up and move. Getting up and move is scary because it's a new territory. It's a staircase that's dark. We don't see that. We don't see the staircase. We're afraid. We're all afraid. So we all have a tendency to run for cover and to stay under cover. And that's not where your potential is, my friends. Your potential is so far, worlds away from your comfort zone, that safe place. And I just want to encourage all of you. Listen, God made you to be something great. I mean, he put that in all of us. You have it. You've got to get away from this victim's mentality of, well, I can't be that because I'm born on the wrong side of the tracks. Or, oh, it's easy for you to say because you're that and I'm not that. Oh, well, as long as you say that, you're right. And that's the flipping. That's one of the big flips that I give people is that, look, as long as you say you are, you are. That was good old Henry Ford. If you think you are, if you think you're not, or if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's all what you think. It's all the story you tell yourself. But people will say, well, yeah, it really is a setback. That's a horrible thing that I just went through. Listen, I've been through my setbacks, and I used to call them setbacks. As long as I said they're setbacks, you know what? They were setbacks because I contracted, I disengaged, I cut. It became a setback. until my last big setback, which is a big business failure. And I said, you know, honey, I told my wife, this is not going to be a setback. No, sir, not this time. This is going to be a setup, not a setback. And sure enough, I held it as a setup. And I started engaging differently. My antennas were up. I listened, I watched, I looked for opportunities, possibilities. And here I am. I'm coaching, I'm podcasting, I'm writing, I'm helping people succeed. I would have never done that in my old business. I thank God for the setback that set me up for something different. And that's what I want your people to see in everything. Am I talking pie in the sky? Yes, there is pie in the sky. I've seen it. But also, it is everything that you think it is. If you say it is, it is. That's how powerful your thoughts are. You flip your thinking. I'm telling you, it's a powerful book. It's the simplest read you'll ever have. Simple, but it's packed with gems that you can take and you can put inside right here. You can go, wow, yeah, I'm going to apply that to my life today. And I'm going to flip that one thought that I've been having, that one negative thought. You know, people ask me, I was asked the question the other day, should I put more effort in thinking more positively or more effort in thinking less negatively? It's a great question. And I'll tell you emphatically, forget about positive thinking. I can tell you 10 things I love about you and then one negative thing, and you're going to remember that negative thing for the days to come. Forget about the positive thinking. You find what negative ick that you've got that you're thinking. Notice what you say, notice what you're thinking, start observing your thoughts and see, oh my gosh, that Rob guy, that weird guy from Sugar Land, Texas, he's right. I've been thinking that negative thought, and that's keeping me stuck. And it is. And when you recognize it, then you replace that and you start replacing it. And again with a thought, with this thought of I could never do that with this thought. I'm learning to do that. I'm becoming more of that. I am becoming that every day. I'm becoming it right now. It's not about I hope to be rich someday. It's richness is here. It's on its way. It's mine. I claim it. It's it. It's here. And I promise you, your thinking is either holding you hostage or making you soar. It's that powerful.
Well, Rob, I listen to people like yourself, and you can come to me and you're all right, but getting people to make that change, I see it time after time over the years. I can, I've seen people who have consistently failed, okay, because consistently do the same things. And you can tell them till the cows come home, they're not going to change. But to me, what you need is the ability to change, and I don't think most people have it. What do you
That's
say?
good. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Donald, and it's you bring up a great point because I will say that it does seem that most people don't change or they change temporarily and then they go back to
Uh,
the old ways. I'm totally with you on that. I do have to I'd have to push back on you a little bit, and I do believe we're all created, each of us created with the ability to change. I think that many of us choose not to. It's easier not to change. Let's face it. It's harder to change. It's easy to be a victim. It's hard to become something different than what we've been doing all of our lives. It takes a little sweat effort. And I tell you that, yeah, I understand about all the motivation stuff. I've read motivational books. I've been to motivational seminars. My stuff isn't about motivation. My stuff is bringing you back to your beginning, back to what you literally think. Because you can listen, motivating over negative thinking is like putting perfume on a cow patty. It's just, the cow patty's still there and it may smell good for a while, but it doesn't last. You got to carve out the negative thinking. And you can start by recognizing what friends you hang with. I'm sorry, what friends you hang with. I have a Monday morning mail out that goes out on robflips.com. Go subscribe every Monday morning. It's free. I send you a flip for the week. Keep in touch. Keep in touch with people who are up to something. Look at your friends that you hang with. You're going to be never any bigger and brighter than the friends you hang with. So sometimes it takes relocating friendships and bringing new ones in. Yeah, you can't just change on your own. No, I don't believe any man is an island. We got to look at our friendships, what we're putting in our brain. Are you reading a good book every week? Do you have something by your bedside? You're putting, garbage in, garbage out, right? Good stuff in, good stuff out. You've got to be diligent, and you got to understand this is what I want. It's not going to happen overnight. You can't turn a barge in a minute. It's going to take a little sweat effort on my part. But I take people beyond motivation, beyond inspiration, and right back down to aspiration. What do you aspire to be? I mean, in your gut, what do you aspire to be in your life? If you stay focused on that, like Stephen Covey said, keep the end in mind. Stay focused on your aspiration. Get away from motivation. It feels good for the moment, but it's gone. Be aspired to who you are and who you were created to be. I tell my folks that, look, there's several things you can do. Get new friends, get outside your bubble and start contributing to other people's lives. This is huge. Contribution to other people's lives is huge. All sorts of endorphins, chemical feel good start happening inside yourself as you contribute to others. Um, Also, just stay plugged in somewhere. Be thankful too. Gratitude's a huge thing. I tell all my people, when you wake up in the morning, don't grab your phone. Keep your phone down. And you raise your arms and you say, thank you. Thank you for this day. I woke up this morning and I thank God I did. Every morning I do. Every morning I don't start my day until I spend my quiet time. Now, some people believe there's God, some people don't, and I happen to believe that we're made by a creator, and I just give thanks. And 10 minutes of that in the morning, tell you what, that starts your day out right. So there's some things you can do, but I'm with you on the motivation seems to be temporary, and most folks seem to kind of die off on the wayside. They have a good weekend, then on Monday morning they got an emotional flat tire, and that's just the way it is. But you put a few of these things in place. Come subscribe to my Monday morning deal. Plug in. I've got lots of things going on. I buy my book. It's a great thing to buy. You want to say something? I'm sorry.
No, no, all I want to say is give us the link. What's the link to that?
robflips.com. robflips.com. Amazon also carries my books. Flip Your Thinking and Flip Your Mornings is a great book as well. Also, I'm starting for you married folks. Listen, if y'all want to buzz back in marriage, we're real excited about this course we're starting up in a couple of weeks. Come to robflips.com and you can bring the zing back in your marriage. It's all about flipping how you think. But we're having a ball because this is what life is all about. It's about encouraging each other. As you said, many folks have a hard time with doing this stuff. That's why we need to encourage each other. We're all about helping each other become who we are. And yourself included, Brother Donald. I want to do whatever I can to help you become everything that you are, because we're not here by accident.
Well, the difference being at my age, you kind of look back and you can't, as I say, I'll get up in the morning, check the obituaries. If I'm not in them, I get up. That's from Groucho Marx.
Well,
At my age, that's what you do. I've had my regrets and I've had my successes, and uh, I've gone through the life. You know
yeah, you
what
got
got
stories to
you.
tell. Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
but
I'd love to hear your
I
stories, but I want to add this though, Donald. You're still working, aren't you?
of course. What else am I
And
going to?
and you know what it reminds me of is the movie Out to Sea. Walter Matthau said one of my favorite lines. He said it's never too late. That's why they invented death.
Yes,
But you're still working, my friend. You're still pushing. You're still making a difference, and that's what we do.
I try to try to keep busy. But your book again and where people could get it.
Flip Your Thinking. You can go to Amazon. Flip Your Mornings is the second book, and coming out is Flip Your Marriage. But you can go to Rob Cross, Flip Your Thinking. That's a great book.
That's one I'd read because my second marriage is certainly much better than my first. It
You're
took me
getting better.
But we only have a minute left. What would you like to leave our audience with?
Thank you for that. I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. And I do want to make a difference in your life. You were created with tremendous potential and capabilities. And I'm telling you, I promise you, you're far more capable than you think you are. And wherever you're at in your life, don't ever think you're a victim, because you're not. It's always up to you. You got to control your thinking, or your thinking will control you. I don't want to see you uh, living your life short of what you're here to live. You do have a purpose, and it's specifically your purpose. So wake up, come visit me. Send me an email. We'll be friends. RobFlips.com.
On that note, we say, Rob Cross, thank you for a very, for me, illuminating half hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald.